As I went walking every bit of highway, I saw above me an endless skyway. Saw below me a golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, and this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. Ah, the sun comes shining. Well, see, I wrote and I don't usually forget the lyrics to it, but I've been doing it a long time, you know, over 40 years. But, you know, every once in a while, I was thinking of something. That's what the problem was. And the thoughts that I have are so few and far between that when one comes by, I stop everything. I say, hello. And they're telling you about it. I lost it. Probably wasn't so important or nothing, but, you know, when the times get sort of nuts, you know, or even eerily familiar or whatever it is, you know, and you begin to wonder if anyone can actually do anything, you know what I'm saying? And so you tend to fall into the us and themness of it, you know, as it were. But you don't want to ever believe that one person can't actually do much. And matter of fact, change everything. Because it reminded me, when I was thinking about it, of that story, you know, of Joseph with the coat, you know, that one. And, you know, there's a guy named Joseph, and he's got a coat. That's the short version of it. But yeah, he had some brothers, you know, and the brothers didn't like him, not just because he had a cool coat, but they were pretty convinced that Pop liked Joseph more than them, and they might have been right, see. And one day the brothers got up early, and they went out the door, you know, to go feeding the flocks and stuff like that, what they do. And Joseph must have slept in. I didn't read it all that carefully. But at some point, his dad says, you know, something like, Joseph, what are you doing hanging around the house? Why aren't you down the road helping your brothers? And he went, oh, okay. So he goes down out the door and goes down the road to where his brothers are supposed to be, but they're not there. And the Bible says there's a guy standing in the field saying, they went that way. So Joseph takes on down that way, and he runs into his brothers. Now, meanwhile, the brothers have been plotting against him the whole time. Some saying, let's do this to him. Some say, no, let's do that to him. Eventually, they decide they're going to sell him into a caravan, and that's what they do. And Joseph ends up in the caravan going down to Egypt, and he gets to Egypt, and he gets put in jail down there in a big, in a cell with a couple of big bruisers, you know. Nothing changes. And one of these bad guys is having some bad dreams, like it ain't bad enough in there. But Joseph is good with dreams, see? And Joseph straightened out the guy. And the man says, listen, Joseph, if I ever get out of here, dude, I'll help you out. I'll do something for you. Sure enough, the guy gets out, forgets all about Joseph, start rising up in the ranks, getting close to the Pharaoh or something like that. A few years go by, and then one day the Pharaoh starts having these bad dreams. He calls for his pipe and his fiddlers three. Whatever, they come out there, they can't think of nothing. Now everybody in Egypt getting nervous because the Pharaoh's having these dreams, something wrong with them, you know, and nobody can figure out what's going on, kind of like now. And all of a sudden this guy remembers, wait a minute, I know somebody that's good with dreams. And they go and they get Joseph and they bring him up to the Pharaoh, introduce him, Pharaoh Joe, you know, and the Pharaoh tells him about the dream, and Joseph said, this is easy. He said, you're going to have 7 good years. The rain will be falling, wheat fields waving in the wind. It's going to be very nice. But it's going to be followed by 7 bad years where the rain's going to quit and the wheat field turn to dust and blow away. It's going to be bad. The Pharaoh went, whoa. He thought about it. He said, fiddlers, you're out of here. You didn't do nothing. Joe, you're the man. And he put Joseph in charge of everything. And Joseph started building these granaries to put some stuff aside during the good time in case the bad time shows up, like what he was saying. And sure enough, it does. It's bad. It's not just bad in Egypt. It's bad everywhere. So back at the farm, Pop and the boys are sitting around saying, it's bad. Pop said, why don't some of you boys go down there to Egypt, see what they're doing? And he sent a few of the boys down there. And to make a long story short, they run into their brother Joseph. He said, hey, it's me, Joe. They said, uh-oh. He said, don't worry about that. Listen, go home, get Pop and the women, the children, the flocks, and everybody. Bring them on down to Egypt. We'll be living high off the hog. Not the words he would have used. But that's exactly what happened. They went down there living pretty good. After generation, then 1 year later they get a bad crop of pharaohs or something. I don't know. That's a whole different story. That's Moses. I'm beginning to sympathize. I've been doing this 40 years. These people have been doing this 40 years. I just hope it doesn't take another 40 years to get somewhere. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. And eventually out of that story come, David and Goliath, I loved that when I was a kid. That was good. And out of that family comes Jesus later on. Now it's a couple of 1,000 years after that. I mean, there's a lot of history I've been through in a very short amount of time. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who have a lot to say about any one part of it, but I'm here to remind you that all of this history, every single piece and part of it, depends upon one unknown, anonymous dude standing in the field saying, they went that way. Without that guy, there's no Joseph, there's no Israel, no Egypt, no Moses and Pharaohs and nothing. There ain't no David and Goliath and Jesus and nobody. If you ever wondered what one person could do in this world, wonder no more. You don't have to know anything. You could be standing there, somebody say, which way to go? That way. The whole freaking world could hinge on you, and you wouldn't even know about it. I'm sure that man is standing around somewhere right now saying, I should have given him my name. His wife is saying, you should have given me your name. You would have been somebody. Sun comes shining, and I went strolling. The wheat fields waving, the dust clouds rolling. The fog was lifting, and a voice was chanting, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, and this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. I'm just thinking one more thing here. I know I shouldn't have thought of it. But I know that especially at a gig like this, where people are celebrating anniversaries and all kinds, and even at our regular shows, a lot of weird people show up at this stuff. People you may not have seen sneak out of the woodwork or something. You get them peace and love types, I know, I used to be one. And I started thinking about it recently. I thought, what's so good about that peace and love stuff anyhow? I mean, imagine if the world was all peaced out, loved up and everything. Everybody getting along just fine. Nobody fighting. Everybody feeling pretty good. As a matter of fact, nobody's even sick. Everybody's healthy and happy and stuff. Nobody's even hungry. I mean, everybody got stuff to eat. In a world like that, you would have to go a hell of a long way out of your way to make a positive contribution. But in a world that sucks, like this one, you don't have to do very much at all. There's never been a time in the history of the world when you could do so little and have it mean so much to so many people. This might be the world we've been asking for all along. You just can't let it stop you or get you down. You got to keep that smile on your face, twinkle in your eye, keep your heart open, all that stuff. Which brings me to the last verse to the song that I learned when I was a kid. My dad took me out in the backyard, taught it to me. It went something like this. Nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking my freedom highway. Nobody living can make me turn back. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, and this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you. Help us out here one time. This land is your land, and this land is my land. from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Thank you very much. It's been fun to be here. Thanks for coming. We'll see you again. Good night.